While everyone looks at the Russo-Ukrainian war, China and India are fighting a silent battle in one of the world's most dangerous flashpoints. At various remote outposts along the disputed Chinese-Indian border, around 100,000 troops from both nations are stationed, ready to strike at any time. A war between these two superpowers has always been looming, and the brutal military clashes between the two nations that left 20 Indian soldiers dead back in 2020 have only worsened the situation. Now this war has spilled over to the Indian Ocean, where India is building a $6 billion state-of-the-art nuclear submarine base that's designed to destroy China's naval power. India believes that this base, INS Varsha, will be the card that finally neutralizes China and help it counter Beijing's growing influence in the region. In this video, we'll go over the bloody history between the two nations, how both nations are ready for a war with each other, and finally, what this new Indian base is truly capable of. To understand the context of these modern-day tensions between the superpowers and India's need for the INS Varsha, we must take a step back into history where the origins of the two nations meet. India and China, two of the world's oldest civilizations, have a long and complicated history, marked by periods of both cooperation and conflict. Their relationship has been shaped by cultural exchanges, trade, and territorial disputes, many of which involve the Indian Ocean. One of the most significant events in modern history was the 1962 Sino-Indian War, which resulted in a brief but intense conflict over border issues in the Himalayan region. This war had a lasting impact on their relations, leading to decades of mistrust and strategic competition that persists to this very day. After the war, both countries focused on rebuilding and strengthening their national security. China, under the strategy of rapid modernization, significantly increased its military budget and invested in advanced technologies. India, while initially slower in its modernization efforts, gradually ramped up its defense spending and developed a more strong military strategy. The geopolitical landscape in Asia began to shift, with both nations emerging as major regional powers with conflicting interests. This has slowly elevated their rivalry over the years to become about regional dominance and influence. The two countries have vied for influence over neighboring countries and regional organizations in very big ways. For instance, China's Belt and Road Initiative aims to create a vast network of trade routes and infrastructure projects that enhance its influence across Asia, Africa, and Europe. India, on the other hand, has sought to counterbalance China's influence through its own initiatives, such as the Act East policy, and partnerships with other regional powers. Over the years, both countries have had irregular dialogues and agreements to manage their border disputes and prevent escalation. However, the underlying mistrust has persisted, and occasional skirmishes have highlighted the fragility of their relations. The most notable of these clashes occurred in 2020 in the Galwan Valley, where both sides suffered casualties, further straining bilateral ties. Since then, these skirmishes have kept happening, but on a smaller scale, indicating the deep-seated mistrust that exists between the countries. With the historical foundation set, now let's move on to the Indian Ocean, the battleground where China and India are flexing their naval capabilities. But before we continue, thank you for always supporting our content, especially when we have CCP bots and the algorithm heavily suppressing our reach every time we talk about the Chinese military dominance. Your liking and sharing of our content really helps us out. All right, let's get back to it. Have you ever wondered why India and China are often in the headlines for their strategic and sometimes hostile moves in the Indian Ocean? Well, let's go over it, as it's critical in understanding India's strategy to counter China. The Indian Ocean holds great strategic importance for both these countries, as it is the third largest ocean in the world and serves as a critical maritime route, facilitating a significant portion of global trade. Approximately 80% of the world's maritime oil trade passes through the Indian Ocean, making it a vital artery for energy supplies and global commerce. For India, the Indian Ocean is its backyard. It provides access to vital trade routes that connect the Middle East, Africa, and Southeast Asia. The security of the Indian Ocean is directly linked to India's economic and national security, and that's why a dominant presence in this region allows India to protect its interests, secure its maritime borders, and maintain regional stability. The Indian Ocean also acts as a buffer against potential threats, providing strategic depth that is crucial for India's defense stance. India's coastline stretches over 4,660 miles, that's about 7,500 kilometers, with several major ports and naval bases strategically located along it. The country's exclusive economic zone in the Indian Ocean covers an area of about 1 million square miles. It's about 2.3 million square kilometers. rich in marine resources and critical for the livelihood of millions. Control over this region ensures the safety of India's maritime trade routes and the security of its energy supplies. China, on the other hand, feels just as strongly about the ocean. With its rapidly growing economy and increasing energy needs, it views the Indian Ocean as a critical link in its own supply chain. But the most important part is not just the vast, wide ocean. For both of these superpowers, it comes down to one crucial part of that ocean: the Malacca Strait. The Malacca Strait is a narrow passage between Malaysia and Indonesia, and it is particularly vital as it serves as a crucial choke point, being invaluable to both superpowers. For China, the Malacca Strait is a lifeline for its trade and energy supplies. This strait connects the Indian Ocean to the South China Sea, forming the shortest sea route between the Middle East and East Asia. A significant portion of China's trade, approximately 60%, passes through the Malacca Strait. This includes essential imports and exports that fuel China's economic engine as the manufacturing hub of the world. Over and above that, over 70% of China's petroleum and liquefied natural gas imports are transported via this route, making it critical for China's energy security. Any disruption in the Malacca Strait could lead to severe shortages and economic turmoil in China, which is why the country places such high importance on maintaining the security and stability of this passage. On the other hand, India also recognizes the strategic value of the Malacca Strait. As a rapidly growing economy, India relies on the free flow of goods and energy through this waterway to sustain its development. The strait is a key conduit for India's energy imports from the Middle East and Africa, much like China. Ensuring the uninterrupted passage of these energy supplies is vital for India's economic stability and growth. Additionally, the Malacca Strait is a crucial link in India's trade routes, facilitating the movement of goods to and from East Asia and beyond. For India, maintaining open and secure maritime corridors like the Malacca Strait is essential for its trade and economic interests. Geopolitically, the Malacca Strait serves as a focal point for both China and India's influence in the region. For China, control over the strait provides significant leverage in its broader geopolitical strategy. The narrow width of the strait at certain points makes it vulnerable to potential blockades or disruptions, which could impact China's trade and energy supplies. This has led to what is known as the Malacca Dilemma, highlighting China's concern over the potential for enemy nations to disrupt this crucial maritime route. Ensuring the security of the Malacca Strait allows China to safeguard its economic and energy interests while projecting power and maintaining its influence in the region. Given the many nations that China has created enemies with out in the South China Sea, like Brunei, Indonesia, Malaysia, the Philippines, and Vietnam, the safety concern regarding the Malacca Strait is quite a serious one. We will go over China's problems with many of these countries later on in the video. Similarly, India views the Malacca Strait as a strategic choke point that can enhance its regional influence. By maintaining a presence in this vital corridor, India can ensure the security of its maritime interests and counterbalance China's growing influence in the region. The strait's strategic location also aligns with India's East Act policy, which aims to strengthen economic and strategic ties with East Asia. By securing its interests in the Malacca Strait, India can enhance its connectivity with Southeast Asia and beyond, reinforcing its geopolitical standing. Both China and India also recognize the importance of the Malacca Strait in context of their broader regional connectivity initiatives. Basically, for China, the strait is a gateway for its Belt and Road Initiative, which seeks to enhance trade and investment links between China and other countries. The Malacca Strait serves as a crucial transit point for goods and resources, facilitating China's economic integration with Southeast Asia and beyond. For India, the strait plays a key role in its efforts to strengthen regional connectivity and economic ties under the Act East policy. Ensuring the security and stability of this maritime corridor is essential for both countries to achieve their regional connectivity goals. To ensure that this security point is unchallenged, China has gone above and beyond in making significant investments in its naval capabilities and establishing a series of naval bases and logistical hubs across the Indian Ocean. This strategy, often referred to as the String of Pearls, involves the development of strategic points along key maritime routes. This severe Chinese armament is one of the reasons why India has decided to not just build the INS Varsha, but also construct bases on islands like Agalega in Mauritius and enhance facilities in the Andaman and Nicobar Islands. India refuses to get left behind, and the more aggressive China gets with its preparations, the more India has pushed to counter it, even if it means spending over $6 billion to do it. Let's briefly go over some of the more notable bases China has, starting with the Gwadar port in Pakistan. Situated at the mouth of the Persian Gulf, Gwadar offers China a direct link to the Arabian Sea. China acquired Gwadar port through a strategic partnership with Pakistan as part of the China-Pakistan Economic Corridor, which is a flagship project of China's Belt and Road Initiative. This port provides strategic depth and an alternate route for energy supplies, reducing dependence on the Strait of Malacca. It is also a key component to the connectivity between China and Pakistan. As you might imagine, because of the intense rivalry, the development of Gwadar has raised concern in India about China's increasing influence in its immediate neighborhood, adding alarm to India's ambition. Another port that China has is the Hambantota port in Sri Lanka. It is located along major shipping lanes, and it serves as a vital logistical hub for China's naval operations. The port was leased to a Chinese company for 99 years, allowing China to maintain a permanent presence in the Indian Ocean and extend its reach. Hambantota's strategic location makes it a critical point for monitoring maritime traffic and projecting power in the region. Much like the Gwadar port, India's concerns over Hambantota were worsened when a Chinese submarine docked at the port in 2014, highlighting the potential for full military use. Another base worth mentioning that China has is Djibouti, East Africa. China's first overseas military base in Djibouti enhances its ability to support naval operations and protect its interests in that region. Djibouti's location near the Bab el-Mandeb Strait, a choke point connecting the Red Sea to the Gulf of Aden, makes it a strategically important base for monitoring maritime traffic and securing trade routes. The base in Djibouti also allows China to support its anti-piracy missions in the Gulf of Aden and its humanitarian operations in Africa. On top of all these, China's maritime military dominance extends beyond the String of Pearls. China's military maritime power is formidable and growing rapidly. The country has expanded its navy significantly, surpassing the United States in terms of total battle force ships. This includes modern warships, submarines, and aircraft carriers, all of which are crucial components of China's naval strength. Advanced technology plays a pivotal role in this expansion, with China at the forefront of shipbuilding, navigation, and communication systems. They have developed state-of-the-art nuclear submarines and missile systems, enhancing their maritime capabilities. In terms of nuclear capabilities, China is also well ahead of India. With over 600 operational nuclear warheads and plans to significantly increase this number by 2030, China is a formidable nuclear force. The development of hypersonic missiles and other advanced delivery systems further enhances their strategic deterrence. In addition, China's maritime law enforcement is strong, with the Coast Guard and maritime militia playing crucial roles in asserting China's claims in the South and East China Seas. These forces are key in maintaining China's presence and enforcing its territorial claims. This broad approach ensures China remains a dominant force in international waters, allowing it the power to act really however it wants. While many might applaud this, China's increasing presence in the Indian Ocean is a significant concern for India. It threatens India's security and raises fears of encirclement. The expansion of Chinese naval capabilities and the establishment of forward bases allow China to project power far beyond its shores, altering the regional security dynamics. To remain formidable and maintain national security, India's response to China's increasing presence in the Indian Ocean is encapsulated in the massive Project Varsha. This ambitious initiative allows the construction of a top-secret nuclear submarine base known as INS Varsha. India's head decided to locate this multi-billion-dollar facility at Rambili, a coastal area in Andhra Pradesh, due to several strategic reasons. For starters, proximity to Visakhapatnam is a key factor. Because it is located approximately 44 miles or about 70 kilometers from Visakhapatnam, the headquarters of the Eastern Naval Command, Rambili allows for efficient coordination and support between the two bases. This closeness ensures that strategic operations can be streamlined, enhancing India's overall maritime capabilities. Additionally, the strategic location at Rambili, along the Bay of Bengal, offers significant advantages for India's naval presence in the region. The Bay of Bengal is a part of the northeastern Indian Ocean, so INS Varsha has direct access to the Indian Ocean through this bay. With a base here, India can project its power more efficiently and maintain a strong presence in the bay and in the broader Indian Ocean region. This location is crucial for safeguarding India's maritime interests and enhancing its influence in the region. The natural look at Rambili, with its mountainous terrain, provides an added layer of security as well. The base is being constructed underground, allowing submarines to enter and exit through tunnels with easy access to deep waters, thereby reducing the risk of detection by enemy surveillance. This stealth capability is essential for maintaining the operational security of India's nuclear-powered submarines, countering China's surveillance technology. The primary purpose of INS Varsha is to house India's new fleet of nuclear submarines. These submarines are a critical component of India's naval strategy, providing the country with a potent second strike capability and enhancing its deterrent stance. India's nuclear submarines are a strategic counter to China's growing maritime dominance. These submarines, particularly the nuclear-powered attack submarines, offer several advantages that enhance India's naval capabilities. First, they are faster, quieter, and capable of remaining submerged for extended periods, making them ideal for stealth operations. This allows India to project more power efficiently and undertake a wider range of missions, from escorting nuclear ballistic missile submarines to hunting enemy vessels and safeguarding maritime trade routes. They are a perfect counter to most of the vessels that China has. By having a dedicated base for these submarines, India aims to ensure their operational readiness and security. The decision to develop a dedicated nuclear submarine base stems from the need to safeguard these strategic assets from potential threats. The Indian Ocean, with its vast expanse and strategic choke points, is a region of significant interest in global powers. By establishing INS Varsha, India aims to maintain a strong and credible deterrent against any potential enemies, particularly China. All in all, the construction of INS Varsha marks a significant milestone in India's efforts to enhance its naval capabilities and secure its strategic interests in the Indian Ocean. The base serves multiple strategic purposes, making it a critical asset in India's defense stance. First and foremost, INS Varsha enhances India's second strike capability, a key component of its nuclear deterrence strategy. By housing nuclear submarines equipped with ballistic missiles, India ensures that it can respond to any nuclear attack with a devastating counterattack. This deterrence capability is crucial for maintaining strategic stability and preventing conflicts in the region. The second strike capability provided by this base is important given the evolving security concerns of the Indian Ocean region. With China's increasing naval presence and the potential for regional conflicts, the ability to retaliate effectively in the event of a nuclear strike serves as a powerful deterrent. It ensures that any enemy thinking about an attack must consider the severe consequences of a retaliatory strike. Over and above that, INS Varsha strengthens India's ability to project power in the Indian Ocean. The presence of a dedicated submarine base allows India to maintain a persistent and credible underwater presence, deterring potential enemies and ensuring the security of its maritime interests. This is particularly important in the context of China's growing naval presence in the region. The ability to project power through a credible underwater presence enhances India's maritime dominance and ensures that it can safeguard its sea lanes of communication. These sea lanes of communication are vital for the country's trade and energy supplies, and their security is paramount for economic stability. By maintaining a strong naval presence, India can ensure the uninterrupted flow of maritime trade and secure its energy routes. The base also provides India with greater flexibility and autonomy in its naval operations. With INS Varsha, India can conduct extended maritime patrols, deploy submarines on strategic missions, and respond rapidly to emerging threats. The base's advanced facilities ensure that the submarines remain operationally ready, enhancing India's overall naval capabilities. The ability to conduct extended patrols and strategic missions from INS Varsha allows India to monitor and counter any potential threats effectively. The flexibility in naval operations ensures that India can adapt to changing security dynamics and maintain a proactive stance in the region. The advanced facilities at INS Varsha also support the training and development of naval personnel, ensuring that they are well prepared for complex and high-stakes missions. Furthermore, the base enhances India's strategic partnerships and alliances. The base's advanced capabilities and strategic significance makes it an attractive asset for partnerships with other countries. India can leverage these partnerships to enhance its maritime security, share intelligence, and conduct joint operations. This collaborative approach not only strengthens India's defense stance, but also contributes to regional stability. Partnerships with other countries, particularly with key naval powers, enables India to share best practices, conduct joint exercises, and enhance unity. These partnerships also facilitate the exchange of intelligence, providing India with valuable insight into regional security developments. By working together with its allies, India can enhance its maritime domain awareness and respond more effectively to common threats. Already, India has regular training sessions with nations like Sri Lanka and Singapore, and this new base will only increase these with more powerful allies at play. One thing is very clear throughout all of this. The construction of INS Varsha is sending a clear message to China and other regional actors that India is here to stay. It demonstrates India's commitment to securing its maritime interests and its readiness to counter any potential threats. If you think that China's beef with Japan is the only military conflict that Beijing has with its neighbors, then you're sadly mistaken. President Xi is like a child with a power complex, and everywhere he can, he causes conflict. Over the years, China has had disputes with several of its neighbors, including India, Japan, Vietnam, and the Philippines, to name a few. These conflicts often stem from historical claims, territorial expansions, and strategic advantages. Let's look at some of these briefly, starting with China and India. Outside of the maritime issues, these two nations have always had problems surrounding the Line of Actual Control, popularly known as the LAC. The Line of Actual Control is an unofficial boundary that separates the two countries, but it's not clearly marked on the ground, so each country has its own interpretation of it. This vagueness has led to frequent patrol confrontations and standoffs. Since 1962, when China seized control of the Aksai-Chin region and war broke out between the two nations, they have both built up military infrastructure in those areas. This continued military presence is what led to a violent clash in the Galwan Valley back in 2020 that resulted in the death of 20 Indian soldiers and an undisclosed number of Chinese troops. This incident was shocking because it revealed how easily both nations could cause a war even in the modern era, a problem that is worsened by the fact both of these nations are nuclear superpowers. Presently, tens of thousands of soldiers are stationed at various points along the LAC, preparing for conflict at the slightest push. Now on to China and Japan. Their conflict over the Senkaku Daiyao Islands is rooted in both historical claims and strategic importance. These uninhabited islands are located in the East China Sea and are thought to be rich in resources like oil and natural gas. Japan administers the islands, but China claims them, leading to repeated diplomatic and military confrontations. As always, it's a whatever Beijing sees, Beijing wants kind of situation. The situation is further complicated by the US-Japan Security Treaty, which obligates the United States to defend Japan if these islands are attacked. This makes the area a potential flashpoint, not just for China and Japan, but for broader international involvement, as war between these two nations can easily spiral into a global war. Then there's China and Vietnam. The main point of contention is the South China Sea, a region where China has extensive claims demarcated by the so-called 9-dash line. This line encompasses about 90% of the South China Sea, which overlaps with claims from Vietnam, the Philippines, Malaysia, Brunei, and Taiwan. Basically, it's another case of what Beijing sees, Beijing wants, because China is essentially taking territory that belongs to other nations and claiming it for themselves. The South China Sea is crucial because it is one of the world's busiest maritime corridors, rich in fish, and potentially sitting on vast resources of oil and natural gas. That's why China wants it for themselves and has no problem making enemies wherever it goes. China has gone so far as to build artificial islands and military installations in the area, leading to frequent confrontations with Vietnamese vessels. Vietnam has responded by bolstering its own military presence and seeking closer ties with other countries like the United States and Japan. Finally, the situation between China and the Philippines is also centered around the South China Sea. The Philippines have contested China's expansive claims and even took the dispute to the Permanent Court of Arbitration in The Hague. In 2016, the court ruled in favor of the Philippines, stating that China's claims have no legal basis. However, China, like the bully it is, rejected the ruling, and tensions have continued. The Philippines, under different administrations, has fluctuated between confronting China and seeking bilateral negotiations. This conflict is especially important because it involves key fishing grounds and shipping routes critical to global trade. What you need to understand is that these disputes are not just territorial. They involve national pride, access to resources, and strategic control. They also draw in other global powers, making the region one of the most geopolitically sensitive areas in the world. Understanding these conflicts helps us grasp the delicate balance of power in Asia and the potential for broader global implications. It also makes us understand just why India has gone to the lengths it has to build Project Varsha. With China's unparalleled influence, no one is safe in Asia. India knows this, and with this nuclear base, they are attempting to level the playing field. So, with all of the influence and power that INS Varsha is bringing to the table, the big question is, when will this base be ready? Well, the construction of the base has been a complex and meticulous process, involving multiple phases and the coordination of various stakeholders. The development of INS Varsha has been underway for several years, having started in 2018. The initial phase of this project involved extensive site surveys and feasibility studies to determine the optimal location and design for the base. This phase also included the procurement of advanced technology and equipment necessary for the construction and operation of INS Varsha. The construction phase has been carried out in a series of stages, with each stage focused on specific components of the base, such as the underground tunnels, docking facilities, and command centers. The timeline for INS Varsha to become fully operational involves several key milestones. The completion of the underground tunnels and bunkers marks a significant milestone, providing the necessary infrastructure for the secure housing of nuclear submarines. The development of advanced docking stations and the installation of cutting-edge technology for submarine maintenance and repair are also critical milestones in the timeline. The operational readiness of INS Varsha is also dependent on the training and preparedness of the personnel stationed at the base. Extensive training programs have been implemented to ensure that the naval staff is equipped with the skills and knowledge required to operate and maintain the advanced technology at INS Varsha. These programs include specialized training in submarine operation, maintenance, and security protocols. Despite initial challenges faced, such as land acquisition delays, the construction of INS Varsha has been expedited, reflecting India's commitment to strengthening its maritime defenses. The base is expected to be operational by 2025 or 2026, making it a significant milestone in India's naval capabilities. Once fully operational, INS Varsha is expected to be the one standing symbol of India's maritime power and a huge deterrent to Chinese influence. As you can imagine, a project as big as this one doesn't happen without the unified efforts of several partners. These partnerships have played a crucial role in providing the necessary technology, expertise, and resources for the construction and operation of INS Varsha. One of the key international partnerships in the development of INS Varsha is with Russia. Russia has been a long-standing defense partner in India, providing advanced technology and expertise for the construction and operation of nuclear submarines. This partnership with Russia has included the transfer of technology and knowledge, as well as joint exercises and training programs to enhance the operational readiness of India's naval personnel. This partnership with Russia has also included the lease of nuclear submarines to India, providing valuable expertise and insights into the operation and maintenance of these advanced vessels. The partnership has been key in enhancing India's capabilities and ensuring the successful development of INS Varsha. In addition to Russia, India has also joined forces with other countries, including France and the United States. These partnerships have involved the sharing of technology and expertise in areas such as submarine construction, maintenance, and communication systems. The partnerships have also included joint research and development initiatives to enhance the capabilities of INS Varsha. The partnership with France, for example, has included the transfer of technology for the construction of advanced diesel-electric submarines, which has contributed to the development of India's indigenous submarine capabilities. The partnership with the United States has included the sharing of advanced communication and surveillance technology, enhancing the operational capabilities of INS Varsha. These international partnerships have not only contributed to the development of INS Varsha, but have also strengthened India's strategic alliances. The partnerships have facilitated the exchange of knowledge and expertise, enhancing India's overall defensive capabilities. The partnerships have also underscored the global interest in maintaining stability and the security in the Indian Ocean region. Naturally, China is observing the development of INS Varsha and is weighing its impact. It's important to consider how Beijing might respond to this strategic move that is primarily being made as a show of force against them. When you consider all of the possibilities, China's reaction will likely be broad, involving diplomatic, military, and strategic measures to counter India's enhanced capabilities. Diplomatically, China may seek to downplay the significance of INS Varsha, framing it as a routine enhancement of India's naval capabilities rather than a direct challenge to China's influence. Chinese state media may emphasize the peaceful nature of China's maritime activities in the Indian Ocean and highlight China's commitment to regional stability and cooperation. However, China is also likely to strengthen its own naval presence in the region as a countermeasure. This could involve increasing the frequency of naval patrols, deploying additional assets to its existing bases, and enhancing the capabilities of its own naval forces. China's string of pearls strategy, which includes establishing a network of naval bases and logistical hubs along the Indian Ocean, may be further expanded to counterbalance India's growing capabilities. But this will likely just increase the tensions in the region, as both countries will try to keep one-upping each other. China may also seek to deepen its strategic partnerships with countries in the Indian Ocean. By strengthening its alliances and fostering closer ties with key regional players, China can enhance its influence and counter India's strategic moves. This could involve increased military cooperation, joint exercises, and economic investments in countries such as Pakistan, Sri Lanka, and the Maldives. China's response is likely to include both defensive and offensive measures. On the defensive side, China may enhance its surveillance and intelligence capabilities to monitor India's submarine activities more closely. This could involve deploying additional assets, such as drones and satellites, to maintain situational awareness and track the movements of Indian submarines. On the offensive side, China may develop strategies to cancel the threat posed by India's nuclear submarines, accelerating its own technological advancements and capabilities. This could include the development of more advanced submarines, anti-submarine warfare capabilities, surveillance systems, deploying more advanced ASW assets, and conducting regular ASW exercises. By improving its ability to detect and counter submarines, China aims to mitigate the strategic advantage provided by INS Varsha to India. With an investment of this size, the long-term impact of INS Varsha on India-China relations and regional stability is significant and broad. INS Varsha represents a significant strategic move that is likely to influence the dynamics between the two countries. While it may lead to increased competition and strategic maneuvering, it also highlights the importance of dialogue and cooperation in managing regional security. Both countries may need to engage in confidence-building measures and diplomatic efforts to mitigate tensions and prevent escalation. The development of INS Varsha also has broader implications for regional stability. As India enhances its naval capabilities and strengthens its role as a net security provider, it contributes to the overall security of the Indian Ocean region. This, in turn, promotes a more stable and secure environment for all regional players. The base also has long-term impacts that extend beyond military considerations. The base's development and operation involves significant economic investments, technological advancements, and collaborative efforts. These factors contribute to India's overall economic and technological growth, enhancing its global standing and influence. Furthermore, INS Varsha's advanced capabilities and strategic significance makes it a cornerstone of India's maritime strategy. As India continues to bolster its naval capabilities and enhance its strategic partnerships, INS Varsha will play a pivotal role in ensuring the security and stability in the Indian Ocean region. It's interesting to see India fight back and stand its ground against China's naval expansion. With the construction of the INS Varsha, the regional dynamics in the Indian Ocean are about to change. The only question is, will it be a de-escalating capacity, or are things about to get quite intense? With all that said, we do want to hear from you. What do you think about this new submarine base? Do you think Beijing has been checkmated, or do they have something hidden up their sleeve? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. We love hearing your insights. We've got more exciting content coming up on global wars, geopolitics, and much more. Join our community and be a part of the conversation. Thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next one.